hope everybody had a fantastic weekend here. I know we played some games. I know I was definitely celebrating December 7th. Well, I don't know if celebrating is the right term, but remembering December 7th with some hell let loose. And I know a bunch of you were there, so we're gonna we're gonna keep celebrating this Monday with the fact that there were tons of rumors around Ubisoft right now, either being bought out by Tencent or selling off their IPs to remain afloat. Now, look, if you're new to the channel, I have 100% covered how bad these gaming companies that have decided that they're going to bend the knee to the woke mob and make their woke games have ended up. And Ubisoft is, I think, the first one to really fall. One of the first AAA studios to actually fail to the point where they are facing either a buyout or selling off IP to stay afloat. And right here, I have the stock prices of Ubisoft for the last 5 years. Now we're going to break that down real quick. Then I'm going to cover both articles, the ones about Tencent and then the ones about Ubisoft selling off the IPs. So I do have this graph. It is the 5-year graph. Anybody who's familiar knows I don't look at the week or monthly deal. I look over the years to see what the trend actually is. So we can see that during the COOF era, where everybody was locked in and buying computers and was the kind of the heyday of everybody starting to get games and subscribe to services, we do have that incredible boost that Ubisoft got. But as that has toned down, we do see that the stock has now dropped to $13.29. And this is why a lot of people are speculating that Ubisoft is going to go private and start selling off IPs, or they are going to get bought out by Tencent, because that is the only way they can go. With as low as this stock is, somebody could just start buying it all up and take over. Now we're going to hop over to the Dexarto article. Ubisoft could be forced to sell off Assassin's Creed and more in 2025. Ubisoft could find itself with no other options than to sell value IPs such as Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six in 2025 after a slew of underperforming projects. Now, if we take a second to remember what they did to Rainbow Six, where they had to incorporate the disabled operator in a wheelchair as something that's supposed to be in this high-paced shooter, we start to understand how far down the rabbit hole and the diversity, equity, and inclusion rabbit hole they have gone. In a post from the personal blog, founder and former CEO of gaming marketing tool research tool Superdata, Joost van Duren, believed that the developer, known for its aforementioned IPs as well as AAA properties, was heading for privatization and dismantling in 2025. Star Wars Outlaws underperforming, and Ubisoft confirmation in December that first-person shooter XDefiant would cease service in 2025 were both cited as contributors to this projected outlook. And if we don't remember, there are a ton of people coping saying Star Wars Outlaws is actually an amazing game and everybody should go buy it. Meanwhile, we look at the people who are actually playing it, and it's literally almost nobody. Like I'm showing here, peak players over the last 15 days on Steam, because that's all we've got. 1,000 people playing. Max that have ever played the game on Steam is just under 2,500 people, 2,492. So it's not hard to believe that this is an extremely underperforming game when we watched Black Myth Wukong get 2 million players. When even what's the new one? The Marvel Rivals or something? The free wannabe Overwatch video game that they put out, that I absolutely still think it's a complete knockoff of Overwatch. And good for them for getting players, but it's a free-to-play game. I don't think that's going to hold up. It is not the same. But anywho, that's my personal opinion on that. Let's go back to the article. They talk about the shares we just talked about. We don't need to talk about that. Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is extremely controversial because they tried to say this was historically accurate, then flip-flopped to say, well, it's historical fiction, and then tried to say, but look, there is this that happened in history, so it's real, guys, and they keep going back and forth depending on how bad the wind is blowing that day. But they had confirmed in October it would be delayed from its original 2024 release to 2025. Isn't guaranteed to be saving grace for the company. Yeah, with as much as people hate already hate this game and it's not even out. They just hate the concept of this game because people have been asking for a ninja game set in Japan that is in the Assassin's Creed world for so long. And then they throw this garbage at us. But here on December 6th, Reuters claimed to have learned from sources that Ubisoft shareholders were exploring the possibility of a company buyout while still allowing majority shareholder Guillemot family to retain majority control. Second, the Guillemot family, to which the CEO and chairman Yves Guillemot belongs, the largest individual shareholder of Ubisoft is Tencent. Ubisoft is looking at getting bought out by a Chinese company, which I have a lot of problems with. I really do. I absolutely hate when China starts buying up everything everywhere all the time. I absolutely hate it. I hate their policies. I hate their practices. I hate how they do business. I hate all of it. Unfortunately, gamers are looking at Chinese games because they are better than the stuff Ubisoft has been putting out. I mean, we can just look at the new Path of Exiles 2 game. Everybody seems to really be enjoying that, but let's not forget that it is run by China. But again, that's going to be my personal opinion there. So do what you will. I'm morally opposed to it. So I think it's utterly hilarious that we are watching the once titan of the game industry really go off into oblivion, go off to be bought out or sold off in pieces, to be privatized so that no one actually gets to buy the stock in it, where it's just going to be Ubisoft coping and seething, which I kind of think needs to happen because there are some changes that definitely need to be made with who has input on how their games are developed. Maybe get away from the DEI. Maybe go back to what you were originally doing because we've watched their games explode in terms of production cost. We're watching games that are costing 600 million, 700 million, 800 million dollars, and they're not something like GTA 6 that's been in development for what, almost 10 years. Constant development. We're not talking about these games. We're talking about games that have just been developed for a couple of years, and when they come out, they just look like absolute dog shit. Nobody actually wants to play dog shit games. And I think the indie games are proof of that people will play games that aren't as pretty as AAA games. They don't have as much shininess to them, but people still play them because they just are good games. But I would love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comments section. While you're there, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this one out. And until the next one, guys, be easy like sleazy.